about our folks with their short-term memories. The great-great-grandmothers, they taught the great-grandmothers, and they instilled particular things. The great-grandmothers, they taught particular things, and they instilled particular things. The grandmothers, well, they taught particular things, and they didn't really go all in on the instilling part. They left it up to their daughters to teach and instill properly without really enforcing that. They didn't. So now the mothers and their daughters and the daughters' daughters, they know nothing about what their earlier mothers taught, instilled, and enforced. And now you have the ratchet of the ratchet. Men don't want to go on dates, and women won't talk to you, period. They cannot scam you out of funds or get you to pony up funds. They don't want to talk to you. Not all. Over a majority are heading that way, though. At least in Northern-Amexem. Where does that lead? It leads to further deterioration of the Ummah. It didn't happen in a vacuum. The great-great-grandfathers, they came back from what some call World War II, armed, trained, some had killed in war. When they came home, the women said, "We are sick of Jim Crow, so candy stores closed. No cookie for you till you fix this. You're armed, you're trained, you've killed. I'm not saying be violent, just fix it." And they started to do what they could, what they knew at the time, to fix it. Doing things within a system that was provided unto the colonizing hostiles to use for the colonizing hostiles. We never used that system. Undeclared Moors now call themselves quote unquote black, so-called African, so-called African American, whatever. Back then, so-called Negro, black, and colored. All of them undeclared Moors to this very day. In general, I mean. Never used that system. Always used our monarchical system, constitutional or otherwise. Over here, they were kings. They refer themselves by what the colonizing hostiles called them, the French word, chief. Not Sakem, Sakama, or Sachem. No. They used the foreigner term, chief, because it was imposed upon them with musket and cannon. They were monarchs with a war council and a council of mothers. Monarchs just the same. That is now gone. On the other side of the ocean, the same thing. You are not a king, you are a chief. Your king is John. Something like that is how it went. Now there are folks who call themselves rulers, according to what I've been seeing, some of the reports from GIA about particular discussions they had with folks in so-called social media. Folks refer to themselves as rulers. They couldn't answer the simple question about what exactly do you rule. They couldn't present a fiscal budget. They couldn't discuss anything along the lines of intelligence, common sense, brain function, relevant unto independent organic diplomacy and governance as opposed to franchisee management. They don't rule, They're being ruled themselves. They don't govern. They don't know how. That is happening all across the Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu. Basically, all the kings, all of the monarchs there are literally ceremonial. Not speculative. They're they are speculative. They're not operative. They literally have less than zero power to govern. They do things locally. However, they answer to a federal system. They're contracted into all types of mayhem and don't know how to get out of it. And some of them will refuse to get out of it. They could. They're tied back into the lodge. And so they're on the team. What that means for their population if they don't actually rule is they continue in the mess that they're in. Mamlaka al-Saud, for the second time in the last few Earth years, I had to speak to all of you about Mamlaka al-Saud is in a serious financial crunch, which is like the strangest thing ever. They're in a serious financial crunch. That monarchy is a hybrid. It's supposed to be absolute power unto their monarch. They don't control their central bank. I don't care who the monarch is. I don't care who the so-called president or prime minister is. Ultimately, whoever controls the central bank is in charge. Which is why, in your service, we don't have a central bank. We don't have banks. We don't have fractional reserve banking. We don't have credit. Those tricks don't work here. It takes us longer to fund things. We have to pay as we go. However, we owe no one nothing. And no one can dictate terms to us because we owe them anything. You cannot engage. Because if you do, you give them a way in. And this is why Kith and Kindred over here continue to lose. They refuse to learn those lessons and other very important lessons. The men were on their post and the women lost their minds. Our neighborhoods are jacked up on both sides of the ocean because men are not on their post and women have lost their minds. The family structure is broken down. And parties love the ratchetness. And they will fight you to defend it. Housewives of this. Power. Empire. Raising Canaan. The mental retardation that they now refer to as rap music. We want our hip-hop and our rap music back. Because they completely destroyed it. It used to bring folks together. Used to teach. And sometimes we used to dance. Or all that at the same time. Now, mental retardation from folks on Perky. No Riz at all. Faking the fuck like they got some Riz. I can't even call them Nid. That would be an insult to those who really are Nid. The monarchs across this planet are pretty much subjugated. There may be two, besides me, that are not. And both of them are absolute power. We don't do the absolute power thing here. We have a constitutional-monarchy system here. Parties play games we have no time for. And we deserve that. So we don't play that here. Competent plans, competent budgets, fraud countermeasures, instant accountability, operations already operational underway. That all of us and all of our generations deserve. And on my watch, it's exactly what you get. Is it fun in our conditions right now? No. By no stretch of the imagination, no. Is it easy? Absolutely not. We might make it look easy. It most certainly is not. We struggle like everyone else does. We're behind the 8 ball, to say, all of the time. And yet we make do. We improvise, we adapt, we overcome, we figure it out. Because we must. We're all we got. To be able to trust what you're eating, because you know what's in it, that's no small thing. To secure what you have is no small thing. To be able to expand your reach in an era where parties are pulling away and moving apart is no small thing. That's exactly what's happening now. The mindset that some call the alt-right is what permeated those who were participants in the quote-unquote Berlin Conference. That was the mindset of those who instituted and maintained what some call Jim Crow. It is coming back with a vengeance, and it's marching all across what some call quote-unquote Europe right now. It's in New Delhi, ensconced deep for generations. That's why the caste system is so strong there. The alt-right thinking. It was the alt-right thinking that brought forward folks referred to as manifest destiny. And the melanated paid the price. And now the melanated brain dead today embrace the quote-unquote alt-right that has nothing to do with them, because we did not do quote-unquote politics. Politics are for fools. When folks are merely educated, which means they are fools as opposed to being learned, this is what you get. So parties rail against the work that we do, or ignore the work that we do, or attempt to bury the work that we do, because it undoes all that mental retardation. The digital handcuffs and the digital chains are just about here. The digital Jim Crow is just about here. And back in the day, our folks used good old-fashioned shopping catalogs like Sears catalogs to get around Jim Crow. They used quote-unquote money orders to get around Jim Crow. You won't be able to use quote-unquote money orders in a few minutes. And shopping catalogs have gone digital. And most of our folks wouldn't know what to do with a shopping catalog nowadays anyway. However, what's old is going to be new again for those who figure it out. They're telling folks to their face, you won't be able to buy or sell if you don't have their mark, if you don't have their microchip, if they don't have your biometrics, your palm print, and your retina scan. They're putting everything, so-called driver's license and everything, all your medical records, dental records, everything's going to be on your microchip. And you shall comply or you do not participate in our system. We built you one. Y'all don't need their system. But I need the internet. As if folks think that the only ones that can actually have the internet is the colonized and hostile, and the melanated puppets, the international banksters. The technology exists for you to literally build your own where you don't have to use their internet. But you have to lay sea cables. You don't. You have to have satellites. You don't. The technology is not new. The technology exists. It's been in our budgets for years. We haven't funded them because our priorities are making sure we can take care of food, healthcare systems, electrical power generation, and water treatment on our own terms all across the empire. Putting that in place, stable, and being able to secure all of it is the priority. The internet for us, although necessary, it is not the top priority. Having our own internet, that we can do. Our own web, that we can do. Our own network, that we can do. On our own encryption, that we can do. We have to fund it, but we have other things we got to fund first, because you can't eat the internet. You cannot bathe in the internet. The mess that is coming down our kith and kindred didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened on the men's watch. And the women have lost their minds. To fix this, it starts with the men. Right now, most of our kith and kindred are boys in men's bodies. They have no plan, no backup plan to the backup plan, and no clue on where to begin. Their alleged leaders know less than zero, and their language gives them away. Their behavior patterns give them away. And what they allow shall continue. We can't make folks be smart. We cannot make folks do that which is practical and sensible. We cannot make folks see an example. We cannot make folks adjust course. They have to come into the light of knowledge on their own. So fiat lux to them. Maybe, hopefully, one day. And if the light does come to them, let them figure out. You know, what we've been doing has not been wise, not been smart, has not worked. And the status quo has not changed. Time for us to do something different, smarter, more effective. I don't know what to do. They won't get with those that do, because ego is a killer and selfishness kills just as many. So as I always say, all we can do is be the example. To either catch up or they don't. To either investigate objectively or they don't.